I spent years living all the way in the box, afraid to step out, afraid to truly grab hold of my dream. And now I am breaking through, and I invite you to join me.
Your breakthrough starts now. Coming up on today's show, get ready to be inspired and transformed with our featured guests. Find out what's trending and get advice on life's daily challenges with Erica's top tips of the day. All of this and so much more coming up. So stay tuned. This is your one-stop shop for inspiration. The Erica Latrice Show. And now, here's your host, Erica.
Hello and welcome to the Erica Latrice Show. This is your one-stop shop for inspiration. And my goal is to help you kickstart your day like nothing else. And today we're talking about the it factor. I have the powerhouse, Dr. Stevie, here with me today in the Be Inspired Cafe. And I'm also going to be sharing with you some tips to figure out your gift. So if you're someone that's just been kind of not necessarily sitting back, but you've been thinking, how do I know my purpose? Or once I know what I feel called to and my vision, how do I step out in a bold way? Well, I would encourage you to grab your notepad, join the conversation for today's giveaway, because we are talking about all things purpose-driven, knowing what makes you set apart and also stepping out in a bold way and not getting distracted by all of the distractions that tend to come up. So that is coming up today. I have my top tips for you, our Be Inspired Cafe, and so much more on today's show. Do not go anywhere. So join the conversation. I try to make it easy for you all to join in. My question for you today is, what is that unique gift that you have? What's that thing that maybe you've thought about since you were a child, some unique gift that stood out for years, and now you're actually ready to step out in it, or you've been actively doing it? Long question, but we have a short break. So answer that question in the comment section. I'll be announcing today's winner. And all you got to do is comment to join the conversation. We'll be right back. Get ready for all new episodes of the Erica Latrice Show. You can join me weekdays at 2 o'clock Eastern across social media at Erica Empowers. That's Erica spelled like America. If you have a message that you want to share on the show, email us right now at info@ericalatrice.com or visit online at ericalatrice.com/be on the show. All right, welcome back. I'm always grooving to the music, but so I want to jump in with our top tips for today. And what I'm talking about is that your gift, and I say this a lot actually, your gift will make room for you. So if you're someone, if you've been thinking about what comes natural to you, if you've been thinking about how do I step out, how do I do what I actually enjoy, I want to encourage you today, because I talk about this topic because it means something. There's a lot of times where we can kind of let life happen to us. We can let other people's opinions of what we should do. We can let other people's opinions of what's a good idea, what's a good career path, what's a good path of purpose, what business should you start. We can let those ideas influence how we live our life. And if you've learned nothing else in this time period, what we all know is that how we live each day is how we're living our life. And anything that you're thinking about doing, you've probably heard me say this a gazillion times. Today, you are the youngest that you will ever be for the rest of your life. So if ever there was a time to step out, if ever there was a time to get bold, if ever there was a time to do what you feel called to do, spoiler alert, today is that time. So the first question that I would encourage you to ask yourself today is, what is your gift? What's that thing that comes natural to you? What's that thing that maybe you've had a glimpse of it ever since you were a kid? And that's our challenge for today. So if you want to join the conversation, I'm making it easy for you. Just answer that question. Now is a great time to tell a friend, tag a trailblazer, and share as well. Shameless plug. But what's your gift? And the reason that I ask that question is because a lot of times the thing that will open the most doors for us, the thing that we flourish the most in, is usually the thing that gets attacked the most. And I'm telling you this not only from my experience, but from the experience of so many people that I know. I've found this over and over again. Those who succeed, those who soar, those who love health and nutrition and fitness, that's usually the area that they're attacked in the most. Those who help others build wealth, those who have had like this gift of financial empowerment, I find that usually it stems from their own setback, their own challenge in that area. And so I'm encouraging you today because I know that it may feel like, even when you get that glimpse, that you've seen signs to quit. But usually the area that you get resistance in is literally just giving you the tenacity to carry it out. And I talk about this too because I used to get in trouble so much for talking. If you are that person in kindergarten where they move you around, wherever I've got moved to, I'm going to talk to whoever you sit me beside. And so I would actually try to make myself stop talking. I was like, man, I'm tired of getting in trouble. My mom used to call me mouth of the South. I was like, I have to stop talking. And I would literally like try to challenge myself, like, just shut up for like 3 days. I'm not going to say anything for like 3 days. And then the older I got, I realized the area of the doors that opened for me, the areas that I'm most passionate about, they all stem from the very thing that was attacked. The second thing that I would encourage you to think about today is, what do people come to you to get help with? Now, this is one of the best pieces of advice that I got years ago when I found my first mentor. And she told me to go out and start asking people that I care about, people that know me well, what do they come to me for? What do they consider my superpower to be? And it wasn't until I started asking that question that the door started opening to understanding what I'm gifted at, my it factor. And I'm excited because we're going to talk about the it factor on another level. That's Dr. Stevie's coined phrase. But what was that? What's that thing about you that no one else can deliver it in the way that you can? And if that's my next challenge for you today, go find 5 people. Don't stop until you get to 5. 5 people that know you well, 5 people that want to see you successful, and just ask them that question. What do you come to me for? What gift do I have that stands out to you? And you might be surprised by the answers. Now, if you get some responses, I would encourage you to share them with me today. If you want to join the conversation, you can join my group, Amplify Her. And that's on Facebook. So you can find me across social media at Erica Empowers, and share your responses. And the third thing that I would encourage you to think about, now, the first time that I heard this, it was eye-opening because it's so true. What would you pay to do? Not what would you get paid to do? What would you pay to do? Because typically that thing that comes so natural to us, that thing that we're most passionate about, the thing that lights you up, you would almost pay someone else to let you do it. And when you get to that point, you're no longer dependent on other people's excitement. You're no longer dependent on someone else giving you an opportunity. You're no longer dependent on anything outside of yourself and God, really, to carry it out. And that's the place that you want to be in. So if you have ever thought about branding yourself in a powerful way, if you have a goal for entrepreneurship, if you're trying to discover your it factor, do not go anywhere. My special guest today in the Be Inspired Cafe is breaking it down for you, not only from her own success, but tips that she has to share with you to do exactly this for yourself and in your own business. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And we are talking about your gift making room for you.
If you're watching this, so are your potential clients. I'm excited to announce an all-new season of the Erica Latrice Show. It's coming up right now, and we're looking for featured guests as well as sponsors. If you want to be a success supporter of this show, connect with our team right now by emailing info@ericalatrice.com to get more information, or just support the mission of Be Inspired, to empower and inspire people all around the world with a message of hope and encouragement. Our mission is to bring you uplifting news and talk to encourage and share a platform for those who have a powerful message and looking for a place to share it. If you want to partner with the Erica Latrice Show, you can do so by emailing info@ericalatrice.com or visit ericalatrice.com/sponsor so that you can be a success supporter of this inspirational movement.
Welcome back. I hope you get hyped when you hear the music, because this is a time to get hyped up and really to just start owning your day. And I tell you all, go out and make today amazing. And this is the moment that you can make that decision, because no matter what happened an hour ago, 20 minutes ago, right now, I hope you decide to lean in a little closer to our special guest in the Be Inspired Cafe as we make today amazing. And we're talking about the it factor. So welcome with me into the Be Inspired Cafe, Dr. Stevie. How are you doing? It looks like it kicked her off. Let's see. There we go. That's how you know it's going to be a good message. Yes. How are you doing today?
I am amazing. I'm actually hyped because that music, honey, I'm like, and that message, honey, you came on through with all of it. So
Yes.
I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you. And when I saw the It Factor, I'm like, listen, y'all grab your notepads, get ready. We're about to drop some nuggets. So can you tell us just a little bit about yourself? And also, what does it mean when you say like the It Factor and just everything in between?
Okay, awesome. Awesome. My quick and dirty story is that I was a girl who went from kindergarten to grad school. And so the next logical thing was to get a job, or so I thought. And so the first job I got, I loved, I was walked in a room and they gave me a grant. It was for a nonprofit organization. I ended up being there 3 years, only supposed to be there 3 months. And then when the grant ran out, then it was like, what do you do now? And for me, I thought that the more degrees you have, the more money you make. I don't know if anybody could identify with that, but I thought that. So I got a good job and I hated it. I ended up having to go in corporate America, and I'm a free spirit, so it definitely was not a great fit. But I had 3 colonoscopies within 30 days, 2 within 24 hours. I had shingles, and I went from a size 14 to a size 0 all in about a year's time. So that is literally how I got here. And the It Factor is to live out your God-given gifts that God has given you. So a lot about what you said is really in the vein of the It Factor.
I love it when I don't know how we're really going to unfold the conversation. So let's jump into that. When you that's incredible to me, because I feel like sometimes our body will speak to us, our spirit, it'll just be like, alert, alert, you're not where you need to be. So before we get even deeper into the It Factor, what was that experience like when you started having like the health issues and things coming up? How did you finally get to that last straw that I'm going to step out and do what I've been called to do?
Woo, girl. Well, I didn't know. I didn't know. It was the scariest thing in the world actually at that time, because when you've gone to school that many years and you've been taught to go get a job, that's what you thought you should do. And so I did that, and I had work for an amazing corporation. Many of you probably have their devices in your pocketbooks and pockets, but I worked there and it just wasn't a great fit. And so I remember calling my cousin, who's like my big brother, and saying, I hate it here. I want to quit, but I don't know how. And so just getting that courage took a minute, but when I finally did it, it was the best decision I could make, because had I stayed any longer, who knows what would have happened to my body. And so me really taking that step and believing in God's timing was what needed to happen.
Listen, if y'all are watching today, this is if you were looking for a sign, here it is. That sign to step out. And what you talked about too, Stevie, I remember when I made my transition to do what I do now out of my full-time job, and I would say comfortable job, but it wasn't comfortable. When you're doing what you don't need to do, it never feels comfortable. It feels like you might think it's comfortable until you walk in. And I've seen people have this story of just getting fired on the spot, not expecting it. So one of the things that you talk about is discovering that It Factor. And I feel like that's a challenge that comes up for a lot of people, not really knowing like what that gift is for them and how they can start stepping out in it. So what advice would you give to someone trying to discover their It Factor?
Really look at the good, bad, ugly, and indifferent of what you are and who you are. So you got to look at all those things, not even the so happy things. We always like to look at the highlight reel, but I think really importantly, what it is to look at everything holistically. Like for me, I do not like a whole lot of structure, so I know that's part of my It Factor. And I like to work with people who are very flexible. So all of this goes in that pie, and really looking at what you're gifted at. What can you do authentically and organically to get paid for? What's in your hand? All these type of things go into that spotlight of figuring out how to cultivate your It Factor. And it doesn't have to be anything big, like even braids. Shoot, I go to my girl to get my braids done because she's the best around here that I know. So, looking at all those things is important in that journey.
You just said what's in your hands, and I'm like, mic drop on that moment, because a lot of times we want to take action off of what's in, Sheila's hand down the street, or what was in our hand 10 years ago, or what might be in our hands in 10 years from now. but not really understanding the power that most of the decisions that we have to make, I found, are based on what we have access to right now, and it's going to open the door for what's next. So what advice would you give to someone that's trying to figure out what do they do with what's available to them, or what are some of your go-to keys that you've used to max out what's in your hands?
Awesome. For me, it definitely depends what makes me feel good. Like I am in a stage in my life, I told you that story that happened when I was 30. I'm now 41, about to be 42. But what makes me feel good and realizing that what happened at 30 is not showing up at 41. I'm a different person. I've learned more. So I like to look at what I want to do today. What is it that I want to do today? Anything else, if I don't feel like doing it, then don't do it. But at the same hand, understand you got to do something because you got to get paid for something. And so you got to make sure that you're not just sitting on the sidelines and what I call analysis paralysis. Make a move and do something. You never know where you're going to show up.
So good. And you said this too. We want to know what your fountain of youth secret is. 40 where, So if you could just let us know your recipes and what you do with that. But was there ever a time in stepping out in your gifts, Stevie, that you found maybe there were obstacles coming up, or maybe people doubted your abilities or your decision making to step out and take this leap? And how did you deal with that in those times?
Woo, girl. So these are awesome questions because it's definitely my life. And my secret is no stress. I don't stress anymore. I gave that up a long time ago. But the thing is to really understand that, yes, I did go through obstacles. I've been through evictions. I've been through repossessions to fight for my dream, but I would never, ever give that up. My best day on being an employee cannot beat my worst day of being an entrepreneur. And so I never wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I'm so glad that God carved that path for me. And I think really, a lot of my people in my family who are older relatives, like my grandmothers, my great aunts, they couldn't understand my business. They're like, girl, you leaving a good job to do what? But now they're like, oh, you're working today. They're excited because I've produced what I call receipts. The more credibility you build, the more you are going to get paid. So visibility plus credibility equals cash. And that's the whole thing, like showing up, being credible, getting these different things, opportunities, and you will legitimize your business to other people. But you got to keep going.
Yes, I need someone to tap their neighbor and say that in the comments. Visibility plus credibility equals cash. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I have more questions for Stevie. If you are watching right now and you have been maybe teetering, like you're so close to taking that leap, I want to talk to you about some of those core steps that you can take to get out of that place of comfort or seemingly comfortable place to take the leap. Because I'm telling you, like Stevie just said, my worst days in entrepreneurship still outshine my best days outside of God's will for my life and outside of my purpose. So we're going to talk a bit more about that when we come back, but I'm taking a short break. You're going to see something for the Focus Fast, and I'm giving away the 21-day Focus Fast. So if you're watching live, just comment right here in the chat, join the discussion, and you could be today's winner. So we'll be right back. You just soar. If you're ready to step out, I'm telling you, you can transform your life in 21 days by taking the 21-day Focus Fast, and you can get that at thefocusfast.com. All right, welcome back. So many things we've been talking about. We're talking about the it factor. We're talking about your gift making room for you. And Stevie, I really want to hone in for that leap, for that person that it's time for them to step out, or maybe even they're at a place right now where they have stepped out and they're starting to second guess, because we know it doesn't all just go completely smoothly when you take those leaps. What would you say, have been like maybe one or two core beliefs that you held on to that have helped you to sustain and keep going even in the days that you want to give up?
Wow. Yeah. So for me, freedom is principle more so than even money. So you got to understand what is principle and key for you. Freedom has been a definite core value of mine that is resonant no matter throughout my whole life. So on those days, and I always tell people that Why? Because money could be made any type of way. Money could be made any type of way. And those days when you are going to want to be like, oh my God, why am I doing this? Money can't be that thing, because it will not sustain you in the fact that you could go get a job and make more money some days than being an entrepreneur. And you could count your money differently when you know your paycheck is coming every other week. But when you know that this is something that God has put you through and custom design assigned you to, then your trust in God will sustain you more so than anything else. And I think really we got to get in our Bibles, we got to get in our prayer closets, and we got to understand that if this is something that God has brought us to, He will bring us through it.
All of that and then more, because I love it too, the idea that money can't be your why, because in those dark days, and you all see this, the person, they launched this business today, it's like, I'm so excited, I'm going to make t-shirts for you all. And then tomorrow when the money is looking funny, now they're doing nails, or they are offering you eyelash extensions, all kinds of stuff that had nothing to do with what they were coming on board for. And I feel like sometimes that happens when we're not focused on our one thing and trusting God in the process, like Stevie just said, to bring it through fruition. Because too often we abort the plan right on the brink of it. We put it down and say, I'm going to go do the nails, when you were sitting on a multi-million-dollar t-shirt business. So I would love to speak to that, Stevie. What tips, or what are your thoughts around that, where we get really close and not even realize how close we are in cultivating our it factor, and then we can prematurely abort the plan? What are some of your thoughts around that?
I've really been talking to my clients about what I call the 100 No's challenge. It's something I learned very early on in direct sales when I was in that industry. And so the process of it is to write down on a simple piece of paper 1 through 100. And then for every time that you invite somebody to take part in your business, then if they tell you no, then write down the no. If they tell you yes, then write down the yes. But the gotcha with the yes is that you have to start from the beginning again. So that is sustainable to the process of somebody. You got to ask people to support your business and support you. And if that t-shirt business that Erica was just speaking about, you haven't gotten your 100 no's, honey, you got to keep going. You got to keep going. And a lot of people give up inside of their process. I've been in this journey for 11 years. What if I would have given up 5 years ago? A lot of my clients who I have now would never have gotten their breakthroughs because they're custom design assigned to me now and not then.
All of that. I'm over here. This is the amen moment, because I know, like, sometimes we can see other people at the end of their journey, other people in the middle of their journey, other people, they put one thing out, 5 million people go run into it. And I see this a lot. And I just want to touch on this, where I've seen people share their grievances because why is everyone in my family out here supporting insert major corporation? Why are you all buying Bojangles chicken and I'm over here cooking chicken every day? And it's like, well, when I order from Bojangles, I don't even eat chicken, but when I order from Bojangles, they deliver what I asked for. The last time I went to your restaurant, you told me that you was going to swap it out because you were out of chicken. And so sometimes we can take our responsibility and just have this expectation that there's no requirement for longevity. There's no requirement for cultivating. People should just support you because you have something. And that's simply not the truth. It's in that longevity. It's in that sowing those seeds and watering them that you then can start seeing the fruit that Dr. Stevie just said, 11 years. So what are some of your go-to, maybe like your daily actions or things that have helped you to stay the course and help you to stay consistent with what works?
Before I talk to anybody, every day I definitely read a devotional. I read something. I need some words from Jesus, but I do read that before I talk to anybody. Before I actually dig into social media, I need to know so that I could be in the right mind frame for whatever's going to happen in that day. And then I also have incorporated activity. I do some. I never like exercise, but I incorporate like activity in the morning before I start my day, really, so that I could get my endorphins going where they need to be. And then that's really those top 2 things. Then, checking in with my clients, checking in with my team members, checking in with like my family, those type of things come after that. But really starting the day with my devotionals and the exercise really have helped me.
Gosh, that's so good. I can relate to so much of what you shared. In fact, that's our giveaway today. So if you want to participate in today's giveaway, all you got to do is comment, share this, tag a friend, tell a friend. I'm not charging you to watch it. Just share. That's your seed. So I'm talking about the Focus Fast. That's actually the giveaway today. 5 things that you can do each day to help you start getting things done and staying consistent. And part of that is exactly what Stevie just shared. So we're going to jump into our final thoughts. And I would love for you, if you're watching now, this is a great time to leave your answer to today's challenge. What is that gift that's always stood out to you from as far back as you can remember? You can just share that with us. So, Stevie, my question for you for our final thoughts, has there been a time when you looked back over your younger self and years ago and saw a glimpse of the very things that you're doing now? If so, can you tell us about it?
Yes, I've always been a talker, and I remember saying that I wanted to get paid to talk. And so that's what I get to do now each and every day, whether it's via a show, and thank you again, Erica, for inviting me on your platform. But whether it's a show, coaching session, through my membership, through speaking engagements, I'm getting paid to do what I love, and that's really to talk and empower. So definitely, and my mom said I used to be with my dolls having, I guess, like coaching sessions. I wouldn't call it that. I didn't know what coaching was, but whispering to them, and she was trying to listen and hear what I was saying, but whispering to them and talking into their lives. So it goes back. It definitely does. And even being an author has gone back to being a little girl writing when I didn't know how to spell the words, but writing something.
Yes, I love how that works too, because I remember every time I had a class project or anything from like elementary school all the way up to college, I would always opt for the video. So I'm like filming shows, doing the announcements and all these things, not understanding that it was the gift being nurtured, and you shouldn't hide that gift because a lot of times that's the area that gets attacked the most. So that's my final question for you. And then I want to know how we can support you. Have you found in your journey that the area that you have birthed, the area that you have your most success in, actually was the area that you were challenged the most in? And if so, can you tell us about that as well?
Absolutely. So I didn't want to be the girl who stood out. I wanted to blend in. When you're a little girl named Stevie, that's a different name. And so I always used to get picked on and ask questions about my name. I used to want to blend in. I didn't want to be that. So now, to help women increase their visibility, credibility, and cash, and to be put out on the Front Street and, different things like that, to me, it was the thing that I had run from my whole life that has gotten me to this point. So I definitely agree with that statement.
I love it. So can you tell us how we can get connected with what you're doing, what you have out, and how we can support and follow you everywhere online, social media?
CultivatingYourItFactor.com is that place, and I love to give that book away. It is the ebook of Cultivating Your It Factor. And if you are in a place where I was a few years ago and not knowing what to do with your It Factor, not knowing how to monetize it, it's an anthology that I created that features myself and 13 other amazing coaches and mentors and speakers. So my fun fact about that book I like to share is that when we came out on Amazon, we were #1 and Lala Anthony was #2. So the book has the fire in it.
Yes, it's so things. Yes, celebrating along the way, celebrating every win. So shout out to Lala for falling into second place. But kudos and congrats to you on that. That's so exciting. So I want to encourage you all, if you're watching right now, now is a great time to comment, and I will display our winner here. So if your name is coming up right here on display, drum roll, then all you got to do is email me at info@ericalatrice.com to win your 21-day Focus Fast. And that is 21 days to help you get intentional, to know exactly what to do each day to start getting results in your life. And it actually helped me to write that book. Every book that I've written, the content of it helped me to write the book when I was in a season of procrastination. Stevie, I want to say thank you so much for taking time out to be on the show today. You have been dropping some nuggets. I need you to come back.
Yes, anytime. Thank you. I loved it. I love everything about this platform. It's beautiful.
Yes, and it is go time. So we brought the energy for you all. Just kickstart your day like you never have before. You can stay connected with me across social media at Erica Empowers. Join me weekdays across social media at Erica Empowers to tune in live. If this encouraged you, tell a friend. And as I'm always telling you, go out and make today, not yesterday, not last week, not tomorrow, not Saturday or Sunday. Go out and make today amazing because it is absolutely a choice. Take care.